This meeting is being recorded.
That's pretty intimidating.
It is, isn't it?
It does, it is. We're echoing.
Can you move your phone away from it? See if you can-
Like that? So
Yours is
loud.
so high.
Volume.
Mine seems to be reduced to the feet.
You got the feed?
Adam will not be joining us, he's stuck in a meeting. Probably a paying client.
We are getting some feedback.
Thank you.
Well, that's better.
So much better. You heard me correct.
But
It'll be us, that's it.
Hmm?
We're it.
What will?
We're all here.
Oh, okay.
We're all here that's coming, unless
Adam.
Jeremy shows up. Adam will
Oh.
not be here.
Okay.
He's
oh,
in
yeah,
a meeting.
that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Minutes,
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, opposed? All right. Alan, we're gonna put you right up here.
Have something to walk in here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, it is good to be back with you here in person. So we have spent much of the year, of course, focused on our housing initiative and talking about how we're bringing some of the same skill sets we have from working with shovel-ready industrial site development towards promoting housing development. Well, we don't want to overlook industrial development, so a proposal I have to present and maybe talk through today is we work together on a site search to identify a couple of sites we would want to really investigate for industrial site development, and then ideally get to where we'd come back with a recommendation. Hey, here's a site or here are a couple sites we could pursue moving towards shovel-ready status. As you can imagine, we don't have very many sites in the county that are shovel-ready. And what I mean by that is you have utilities to the property line, you have some kind of control in terms of a property option or something where you have the pricing is determined, you have zoning in place, just all that, those risk factors have already been mitigated. And so for us to be able to say, let's work together, again, Redevelopment Commission, KEDCO, and get to where we have at least a short inventory of sites that we know are shovel-ready or we can get to shovel-ready status. There are certainly directions we could go with that long-term as far as pursuing an industrial park development, having a specific focus on ag tech or med tech or other areas, pursuing spec building developments. But first step before we get to all that would be let's identify and evaluate some sites and see if we can find something that's feasible. So that's the idea. We can do the work or at least manage the project within the scope of our agreement with the county. But of course, we want to make sure we're doing this together. We have thumbs up that you'd like us to go ahead with this, as well as we would need some dollars, some budget. We'll need to work with civil engineers, other professionals who can help us with the due diligence. And so I'm estimating for us to be able to review somewhere 3 sites, 5 sites, we'll need about $25,000. I don't want to over commit, but also don't want to shoot for too much as far as setting the budget too high. But again, that would be dollars that we would then use to support getting professionals involved. And I checked the numbers to make sure I was on track, at least with one firm we could work with. As far as the dollar amounts, the timelines that we have, there are groups out there to help us with this. And I guess back where I started, we do something very similar on the housing side. If we find a piece of property that we want to really dig into, first thing we do is we get a civil engineer to look at it, give us their analysis of pluses and minuses, show us conceptually how the thing would lay out, how many lots we could forecast, things like that. So excited about the opportunity. It'd be great to kick off the new year with a project like this to work on together. But certainly bring this for discussion and for consideration.
Johnny, question?
Yeah. I have a couple actually. First, this has not been done in the past.
We've done some high-level work around a few different sites around the county. I'm thinking let's really dig into some recommendations on, let's get to a site or a couple sites, and then if we can, pursue getting to where we have a shovel-ready piece of property.
Okay. I think this is something personally I would like to see tabled and given some consideration to. Would you excuse yourself because you're on the KidCo board? So we don't have enough. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
so we need to table it. We don't have a quorum once Jan. So I think we should just table this and come back to it either the January 3rd meeting, because I don't think it's probably going to be agenda heavy, would be my guess.
I'm
So
hoping it's not.
my motion is to table this.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask, which I don't think, it's not a material matter, but do you know what kind of size of properties that you're looking for?
My experience has been to look for properties between 50 to 100 acres. So that'd be my starting point, but I think we'd also want to talk about what scale of development are we looking for? I just saw a major announcement about a Toyota announcing their first battery production facility in North Carolina. That's a mega site, probably at 1,000 acres. I'm not suggesting that's the direction we as a community want to go, but that is a discussion we should have, is what scale of development we're looking for, and then what's the right scale we should look for as far as property.
I guess I have another question too, and that is, the county supports KidCo at many levels, many different buckets, through the commissioner funding and some other things. Do we ever get a report back on all that? Like what exactly has been spent from each bucket? I'm just curious. And if I'm overstepping my bounds, please tell me. Because I'm not sure if I have the right to ask that question.
So, we do provide an annual report of our results, what we've achieved. So we've got the 2020 report. We'll see the 2021 report come out first quarter, late first quarter, second quarter. In terms of other funding, it's been a minute. I know we've had special approvals for the Small Business Relief Fund. We'll have a report to County Council this evening, actually, how to utilize those dollars differently. We haven't seen any activity on that fund. There have been a few others, but I think everything showed up in the annual report, at least what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
That's probably online, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the KECO site?
That's right.
And when would the annual report for 2021 be completed?
We don't have it scheduled yet, but end of first quarter, so I think a fair timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but as far as tabling it, yeah, it would make sense to wait until we have obviously a quorum and then discuss it in greater detail. So,
Do you have an extra sheet, what you provided us?
Yeah, I can email it, so you have PDF copies.
No, I'm thinking just as a courtesy, if we
Oh, yeah,
could
of
give
course.
that to Dan.
Yeah.
At least he'd be able to see that prior to the January meeting.
Yeah. Well, we can make sure he gets a copy. I just wrote all over mine, so.
So did I.
I've got my copy, that's good.
Okay.
No
All
worries.
right. Are you going to be available on the
Be available.
3rd?
Third,
Okay.
it's on my calendar, it's circled.
great.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have, if we have, some specific questions, we can bring those with us or.
Right. Yeah, we could talk in between, and again, this would be a great way to kick off the new year, but, this isn't something we have to get started this week. It's something that we again, just want to tee up to be able to work on together first half of next year.
This has been done in other areas of the state, though, correct?
Oh, yeah, in terms of pursuing shovel-ready site development, yeah. The state of Indiana has a shovel-ready designation program with different tiers.
Right.
I don't believe we have any sites currently in the county that have the shovel-ready status. Syracuse Technology Park, I believe, had it at one time, but that's technically in Elkhart County. Again, just something that the more we have, if we want to pursue more development, then we need to have inventory available. And I said in the memo here, we are limited in terms of what we can support, both for existing companies as well as new companies wanting to come to the area by not having ready-to-go properties.
Okay. All right,
I like the direction.
yeah, for sure. Tony, you have any other questions? So you had a second?
I'll second that we table it for further discussion on January 3rd.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
I'm going to raise my hand, I'm sorry. It's a habit.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll table this until the January
All right.
3rd meeting. Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you.
Okay. Meeting live stream policy. Doug, I know you had some questions that got answered.
Yeah, the difference between what was in that overview document versus what was in the actual resolution.
50% versus,
Yeah, 2/3.
I'm trying to find the 2/3.
It's not in the resolution, it was in
Okay.
This one,
It
in the
was-
overview.
It was in the overview, yeah. Is this resolution that you sent being adopted by other committees?
Yes, that is a sample resolution that I received from a different county. That is one that their redevelopment commission did pass. So, and it does tend to be a pretty standard format. Your guys, as far as the redevelopment commission, is a little bit different than the ones for the council and commissioner. And most specifically because of some of the numbers that you were allowed to see, whereas the other boards were not. So you have a little bit more leniency as far as the redevelopment commission that the other boards just don't have.
Sure.
If we went to the 2/3, it would mean that 4 of us would have to be here. If we stay at 50%, 3 of us. It's partial people, which you can't have, so
Right.
I'm rounding up. I have no problem with the 50%, just based on the fact that,
Yeah, and again, the more substantive matters,
we can table.
well, table, we can't vote on if they're not present in
Right.
person anyways. So I'm fine as with the resolution as it's presented at the 50%. I think it would make more sense for the business that we conduct and just wanting to make sure that we have as many participating as can.
Right.
So I think, the safeguards that are in there that that they have to be here. Can they have 2 consecutive virtual or they have to? Trying to remember, but as I read through this, I didn't see anything problematic that a member may attend 2 consecutive meetings, a set of meetings by electronic communication, but so then the third they'd have to be in person.
Right.
And then they can do 2 again.
Right,
So,
right,
okay.
yeah.
I think it meets our needs. I'm fine with it the way it states. Were you making a motion?
Were you making a motion?
If we're done with discussion, I certainly can.
Well, you can make the motion. We can continue to discuss. If
All right, well, I'll make a motion then to accept the resolution regarding the electronic or virtual meeting as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Further? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we have adopted the resolution. Okay, we're just zipping right through here. Any further business to come before the redevelopment committee?
I know Alan already presented. I read what was in the press, Alan, but Owens, I'd love to hear directly from you just what the current status is, the time frame, and as for development, anything that might not have been covered in the news release?
Sure. Yeah, so our housing initiative is to respond to the market potential for additional workforce housing throughout the county. And of course, that means single-family homes, townhomes, rentals, anywhere there's a gap. I mean, my understanding is the market typically produces about 400 units a year, that we have the potential to support twice that as far as new residential units per year. And so a strategy of encouraging downtown development. The market study also shows a potential for between 40 to 60, I think it's 40 to 60 new rental units per year in downtown Warsaw. So working closely with the city, something the city has spearheaded to encourage downtown residential growth has led us to be involved in acquiring the Owens property and some adjacent property, and then working with identifying a developer partner to help then frame out what's the project going to look like as far as number of units, other amenities that might be included. Still working through that process, but my hope would be that with the team we have in place that we're developing, we'd be able to see some activity in 2022. And these things take 12 to 18 months to build out. So sometime 2023 we'd see some new housing options in downtown Warsaw.
That's
You
terrific.
could get a place downtown here and just walk to work.
Yeah, terrific, terrific.
I have a question. Has the consideration, I know the housing study was done, and I'm trying to, in my mind, firm up timing, because some of the bigger employers in town are now allowing people to work from Florida, South Carolina, Denver, wherever they want to. Has that been taken into account when we look at that housing study?
We didn't ask that specific question. We did verify with the impacts of the pandemic and work from home, are the numbers still reliable? And the answer we got was yes. The forecast is still reliable from 2019 to 2024. There's still that potential based on the population and the employment demographics we have, not only in Kosciuszko, but the surrounding just region, that the forecast is still reliable. Certainly, I think to that point, though, knowing that people can now work or have more flexibility on where they work, where they live, makes it that much more important that we have diverse housing options and amenities that are going to be attractive to people. Say, hey, I'd like to put up with Indiana in February as opposed to, somewhere else. So.
And I know they've had some employer surveys that have gone out, and they're working on drilling down that information, and had some really good participation from like KCH and Zimmer, and I can't, up in Syracuse, up Hollywood. So I don't think that information's out, but they're dissecting that to find, and it was the employees giving that feedback.
Right. And so the genesis of this housing initiative is also then to make sure we're developing housing in proximity to our leading employers that's going to meet the needs of their employees. So anytime we work with an employer and we have a short list that we're quickly growing, it's okay, let's survey your employees, find out what they're looking for, and make sure we can, if it's not existing or if it's not already coming, let's encourage some development of housing they're looking for in proximity, knowing that, once people are commuting more than 15, 20 minutes, their retention rates are going to drop off, right? So.
You may not have all of the facts right at your fingertips. Did I hear correctly that the number of employees traveling into the county on a daily basis is around 30,000? Is that?
I think that's high. I believe that might mean it may need to take a zero off of there. The state of Indiana has the data points available. They use your W-2s, where you have your county residents, your county employment, and track inbound, outbound. There's some opportunities with people who do actually leave our county to go elsewhere.
Well, that's the number I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you know what the number is, those that reside in the county but that travel out of county for work?
The number that caught my attention is the number of people that drive from here to Elkhart County. And we can all, I think make some deductions about, okay, it's probably the RV sector, right? But it's between, let's say, just call it 5,000 people a day going from Kosciuszko to Elkhart, which, when our labor force is probably 45,000, that 5,000 people a day driving north, provides opportunity, right?
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
And when I worked at the chamber, we studied that when KDI then, let's go back in time. But we found that it was about even as far as who was driving out to go to work and who was coming here to go to work. And there wasn't a lot of difference, which really surprised a lot of people, but we had all the data to back that up. I have no idea what's changed. It's been a few years, about
Yeah,
15
and again,
years,
That's
actually.
the Stats Indiana website,
Right.
one of their the commuting patterns. Any county, you can look at that county and kind of inbound, outbound, and it'll tell us down to the county that has one person, who's going in and out of Kosciuszko.
It's very, actually, if you ever have any time, there's more information on that site than you could probably ever need. So it's a great site.
So that's another reason why quality of life is also within the county is
Right.
important, not only,
Right, yeah, I was just going to say, the quality of place is, it's a great question that you're asking, Joni, is there anything changing on the employers, that landscape? And certainly there is, it would appear, but when you think of quality of place, we could still attract folks here that would be happy to drive into Elkhart or Plymouth, Marshall, Fort Wayne, Allen County, so,
It's a balancing act.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
hard to be everything to everyone, I think. But
Mhm.
I know that I feel like the community has made great strides. Our county has in some of the things that are and will be coming in, so.
Yep.